Oh my goodness, we're back again. It's been another week for Perfectly Paranormal, episode 141. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. And today is no different. Oh my goodness. You're either going to laugh your pants off or you're going to be slightly shocked about this experience. You're going to hear a very strange and rather relevant experience from Angela, who struggled to understand the stench she experienced while visiting a public place. A public place that we have all been to at one time or another, out of desperate need. That is all I'm going to say right now. I was a little bit dubious about making this episode, I have to tell you. Now, this is probably one of the oddest experiences that I've ever had shared with me from a client. But for those of you that listen to this podcast often enough, nothing will surprise you. And something smelt rather off, pun intended, after Angela came back from a public toilet one afternoon. Yes, you heard me right. And she couldn't work out what it was. And you're going to find this following experience surprising, if not a little unsettling, but not in a scary way. You know, I never ever want to scare people. But I just share the odd, strange experiences that nobody else does. And I've called Angela's alarming toilet experience the poo demon. Now, Louie is Angela's partner. And Louie contacted me one day just to have a chat about doing an energetic clearing for their new home. And at the end of the conversation, it kind of slipped in that Angela had a rather strange and odd experience yesterday afternoon that I might find interesting. Because Louie knows I love anything and everything about the paranormal. And I suppose he was kind of excited to tell me about this experience. And he should have known that I would make a podcast episode about it, because it's very relevant. I have had an experience myself in a public toilet with a rather unusual entity, which I may mention that at the end. But let's get back to Angela's story. Angela and Louie had been out shopping, as we all do. And as much as Angela dislikes public toilets for all the normal reasons that you can think of, she just had to go. Like, really go. And it just couldn't wait the 20-minute drive for them to get home. So in she went, planning to be in and out as fast as possible. And after finishing and washing her hands, and as she made her way to the car, she could smell the worst of worst, stinky toilet-type smells of the poopy kind. Now, Angela's a grown woman, and she knows how to clean herself. She knows how to wash her hands. And she couldn't for the life of her work out where this stench was coming from. It was making her feel a little bit unsettled. And the stench simply wasn't there before she went into the public toilets. Now, Angela got in the car. She put on her seatbelt and she kind of sat there looking straight ahead. "What's that smell?" said Louie. Angela could smell it too, and they just looked at each other. They looked everywhere in the car. They could not find the culprit. They looked at both their hands. They looked at their clothes. They looked at the bottom of Angela's shoes. They looked in the back of the car, under the seats. Nope, there was nothing that they could tangibly see. Now, Louie, being an avid listener of this podcast, wondered if there was an energetic hitchhiker who'd been lurking in the loos, waiting to hitch a ride with an unsuspecting visitor to that location. And when they got home, Louie got out his pendulum and did some dowsing, and sure enough, Angela brought home with her a stinky, energetic friend of the darker kind. Now, it could also have been an elemental being, or a troll. As you know, I've talked about them before. Trolls tend to let off sort of burnt toast smells, roadkill smells, rotten egg smells. But when I thought about it, it's not going to be an elemental. It is more likely a dark or a demonic type entity because, and we can all think about lots of reasons why these entities might hang out in public toilets. There would be a plethora of vibrations such as emotional imprints, trauma imprints, people with mental health conditions, people taking drugs, arguing, fighting, sort of any other types of inappropriate behaviours, or even people, and this might sound a bit, I'm just going to say it. When you sit on the loo, you think about your life problems. People do. People do it when they go to bed, they think about their problems. When they're washing up, wherever your favourite place is to think about your problems or your traumas or whatever's worrying you, that's where you're going to leave that vibration. And you can imagine the number of people that go through public toilets. There's going to be big build-ups of energetic imprints. Also, too, I thought about this because Angela is an energy worker. Angela is a Reiki practitioner. So the entity may have been drawn to her light, because they see our energy fields, the way that they shine or the way that they vibrate at a higher frequency. And it may have just wanted to follow her home, or it wanted help. Because sometimes these darker beings do actually want to transition into the healing space, which is for them in the afterlife waiting room. And the other thing is, it may not have realised that she and Louis would sense its presence. These entities aren't always as smart as what they think they are. And because people who listen to podcasts such as this, they get an awareness of when the energy changes around them and they get onto it straight away. They don't go into panic and paranoia. It's more they put their detective hat on and they go, right, where is this coming from? Who is it? Why is it here? Before continuing our spooky content, I'm excited to announce that you can now text my podcast. Yes, indeed, with a question or a comment, or even suggest a paranormal topic for a future episode. The feature doesn't allow me to respond to your text, but I will indeed give you a shout out in a future episode. And if you're interested in leaving a text, you'll find the text link in the show notes. So let's get back to our episode. Now, Louis, I'm very proud of Louis for doing this himself. He told me that it took him 3 goes with his dowsing to get this entity to leave. But eventually it went, and the awful stench went with it. So we now call this entity the poo demon. I know it's a very childish name, but it's exactly what it was. And I mean, I had to give it a name. I had to give it some sort of title. It was worthy of that. And I'm sure that this story will be shared over and over again. And as I was writing some notes for this podcast, I'd already shared it with my best mate Laura, and she laughed and laughed and laughed. I'm sure she's got young children. I'm sure she's going to look at public toilets in a slightly different way the next time her youngsters need to use them out in public. Now, you can't make this stuff up. Angela and Louis' awareness, like I said, their non-fear-based approach to the paranormal, it really did help them to find a quick solution to get rid of this loitering Lou demon before it got too cozy living in their home. I've done a lot of work for Angela and Louis, and I've given Louis some tips on how to use dowsing to work with entities, to get rid of entities. So look, it's really, really good that Louis was able to do that by himself. So thumbs up to Louis. Now, my own little weird experience, I too don't like public toilets. It's not just the sanitary side of it, it's the people side of it. You're in close, confined spaces. Oh my God. And the cubicles. I go into public toilets and I go past them and I go, nope. I'm not going in that one, or that one, because I can feel something loitering in them. Now, I'm not trying to frighten people. If you're out in public and you've got to go, you go to the toilet. These entities aren't going to hitch rides with everyone. They just don't. It's more a vibration you're carrying, or the fact that Angela was an energy worker, or But I had my own experience. My goodness, after 6 hours of attending a local market here in Hobart as a stall holder, I was busting. And I waited as long as I could, and then I ventured into this cubicled area out of sheer desperation, like seriously, because I think it was again about a 20-minute drive home, and I thought I've just got to go. So I finally chose a cubicle and in I went. Did my thing and then came out again. And as I'm walking back to my stall, my head started to feel different. Now, I didn't have as much protection around me in those days as I do now. And sometimes these entities can feel a little bit threatened, like I was there to have a stall. I was there as a stall holder. I wasn't doing any energy work. I didn't care what these beings were doing in the toilets. They're just doing their thing, not my business. But they get threatened, or they feel threatened. And they will follow you around to make sure you leave the premises, which I did. This entity didn't actually follow me home, but it did make my head feel very wonky and very uncomfortable for the next hour and a half while we were finishing the market and then packing up our stalls and cleaning up the hall. Now, back in episode 133, I shared another friend's experience in a public gathering place that sent his young kids into a spin. Because this man, Ben has 2 young children who are very, very psychic. People who are psychically open are more likely to draw these entities to themselves. The entities feel the vibrations, like I mentioned earlier. So this podcast, it really does raise people's awareness of the energetic influences in our environment. And I really do love receiving people's experiences, receiving their stories, sharing their conversations about what they've experienced. And Louis knew that I would love to hear Angela's experience. And like seriously, it is one that I will be sharing with many, many people. They'll be slightly horrified, but I'll pick my moment. So in episode 142, you're going to hear a fascinating but altogether sinister portal experience, but not the normal kind of energetic doorway that I find in people's homes. Kim's observations in her home saved her from days of chaos and nights of sleep deprivation, and that is no exaggeration. You will be slightly shocked when I share this experience with you next week. So I look forward to having you here with me, as I do every week. People tell me they love hearing these relatable experiences. No jump scares, nothing to frighten you, just to help you understand about the paranormal world around us. If you like this spooky content of this episode today, please hit the subscribe button and you will get a notification when every new episode is released to the public. And stay tuned for many, many more episodes unpacking the strange and unseen aspects of the paranormal world around us. So thank you for joining me today. And don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.